Hello there. It's all going to be about Storm Dennis across the far north of Europe as we move into the weekend. You can see this base cleft swirl of cloud. Now the centre of the storm heading towards Iceland. We could see as much as 2 metres of snow and 100-mile-an-hour gusts of winds. Weather warnings remain in force here. The same too across the UK. The wind's not quite as strong, but we could see some flooding rains. That will push its way into France, the Low Countries and northern Germany as we go through the weekend. South of that, it's a largely fine and quiet story, with the exception really across western Turkey, where we've seen some awful weather the last few weeks. There's more rain to come and snow to the mountains as it moves east. But for much of Italy, France, Spain, Portugal, fine and settled. The wind starting to strengthen across northern France as the arrival of that storm pushes its way through the UK. So it's a slow deterioration to the weather story across northern Europe as we move into Sunday. Gale force gusts of winds, heavy rain, significant snow as well could be an issue across Scandinavia. And then as the temperatures start to pick up, we could see quite a high avalanche risk as well. Here's the city forecast for the next few days. The story will improve through the middle part of the week before more wet weather returns to the UK, perhaps from Thursday onwards. Across much of Eastern Europe, well, it's a largely quieter story with the best of the sunshine, perhaps into Athens. Hello there. We're expecting a real rollercoaster ride in the temperatures across North America over the next few days. A recent weather front clears the eastern seaboard, and then it's allowed this cold plunge of air to descend all the way down from the Arctic. So a bit of a shock to the system, albeit quite briefly. High pressure very much dominates, so there'll be a good deal of dry weather with lots of sunshine around for a time. But as that high drifts its way steadily eastwards, the winds will change direction and temperatures pick up. Few snow showers across the Rockies through Friday. Another weather front waiting in the wings across the Pacific Northwest to bring yet more rain. It's what's been a pretty wet and windy start to the year so far. So not looking too bad on Friday, but that will eventually move in for the start of the weekend. Good deal of dry weather down through parts of Oregon and into California, along with Nevada as well. So let's take a look at the city forecast then through Saturday and Sunday. Here's that rain into Vancouver and Seattle. We keep some sunshine though for much of California. Now across that east coast, there's the cloud out in the Atlantic. That's the remnants of the front. The air coming down from the north. The temperatures are going to struggle. We'll take a look at that in a moment. But there's a good deal of dry weather all the way down through the east coast. The remnants of that front still producing the risk of a few showers perhaps into parts of Florida, but then that eases away. But a real dip in the temperature for the start of the weekend, struggling to climb above freezing in New York, but not for long. Hello there. The month of February has been very unsettled indeed across parts of Brazil. I'm pleased to say, though, 2 weeks into the month, we're starting to see an improvement. And on the satellite picture, you can see fairly sparse shower clouds at the moment. And the areas where we've seen the heaviest of the rain, central and eastern Brazil, will have fewer showers through Friday and for the next 4 or 5 days at least. There's a weather front moving its way out of Argentina into Uruguay. Now we have seen some dry weather, but starting to see showers returning across Colombia. Venezuela is still largely fine and quiet. Still some sharp showers into northern Brazil, but fairly fragmented a little bit further south. There's that weather front into Uruguay. Eventually it'll bring some rain into Paraguay as well. To the south of that, it's largely quiet here with just a few scattered showers and reasonably warm as well. So the next 5 days shows a good deal of fine dry weather, a few isolated showers perhaps cropping up into Buenos Aires and Bogota. As for Mexico and Central America, a few showers into the east coast of Mexico. Yucatan Peninsula down into Central America generally is fine and quiet. A few isolated showers across the Caribbean, not really amounting to too much. It's still a dry, sunny story for many, with those temperatures peaking into the low 30s. And our city forecast shows this quite clearly. Whatever you're doing, have a lovely time and enjoy the sun. Hello there. The remnants of Tropical Depression Francisco has rejuvenated a little, and sadly that means it's going to come back across the shores of the east of Madagascar. Now you can just make that out on this satellite picture here. Doesn't look very much, but we could see several 100 millimetres of rainfall, and that could lead to some severe localised flooding over the next 3 to 4 days. So we'll need to keep an eye on that. We've also got some enhanced rain across parts of northern Mozambique and Tanzania as well. To the south of that, it's fine and settled with some warmth into South Africa. To the north, again, those temperatures are recovering after a cool spell. So we'll see the risk of a few showers into Cape Town perhaps for Monday, but then that warmth returning again up into the high 20s. For Casablanca, we got a good deal of dry, sunny weather. Temperatures recovering back up to 20 degrees Tuesday, Wednesday. Let's take a look at what to expect across the Middle East. Still some stormy weather through western Turkey, and that could bring more cloud, a bit more of a breeze towards the Levant, certainly more cloud up into the north. Not as cold as it has been across parts of Iraq and Kuwait. Light winds across United Arab Emirates could lead to a little bit of patchy fog first thing in the morning, and that could be pretty slow to clear away. But elsewhere it's dry, settled and sunny, and the city forecasts show this quite clearly. A few isolated showers threatening for Q8 perhaps on Monday. Hello there. A quiet weather story across Central Asia, but first of all, let's start off with Pakistan and India. Here it is very quiet. Shower cloud down through Sri Lanka, just affecting the southern tip of India. Also some snow showers across the far northwest of the Himalayas, and that's really the main story, because elsewhere it's lots of blue sky, lots of sunshine, and those temperatures are now starting to peak into the mid-30s as we go through the start of the weekend. I'll come back to that in just a moment. Let's move to Central Asia, where it's all about the cold with a little bit of snow around at the moment. If we start off in Kazakhstan, the temperatures are not as cold as they have been, but still struggling to climb above freezing. We're seeing some snow across Uzbekistan into Afghanistan as well. Now for Pakistan and northern India, fine and quiet. Early morning fog could be a bit of an issue over the next couple of days. Further south, it's a dry story. A few scattered showers maybe for Sri Lanka into the afternoon. Dry and settled as we push back up into the northeastern states with a little bit of fair weather cloud across the Himalayas too. So our city forecasts reflect a similar story. Hardly a cloud in the sky over the next few days. A threat of some showers returning to Sri Lanka into the latter stages of next week. But it does stay unsettled for a time into Tashkent, but getting a little bit milder, so the snow turning to rain. Hello there. The South Island of New Zealand is bracing itself for another storm to arrive through the latter stages of the weekend. This one is Storm UAC. It's moving its way through the Tasman Sea. I'll come back to that in just a moment, but if we take a look at Asia, there are some sharper shower clouds across Malaysia in particular, where you'll see some heavy rainfall. And then to the north of that, well, we've got a little bit of rain to the south of Japan, some unsettled weather across the Korean Peninsula, turning a little bit colder, but colder still over the next few days in northern China, with heavy rain into central and southern areas. Vietnam and Thailand, fine and sunny. Into Malaysia, we'll see some heavier, sharper showers, particularly through Jakarta and Borneo. So here's our city forecast for the next 5 days. Most of the showers likely perhaps into Osaka. Now let's take a look at Australia in a little more detail. Plenty to talk about. The Gold Coast, well, they have already seen record-breaking February rainfall, and we're only a couple of weeks into the month. But I'm pleased to say recent intense rain easing to a few isolated showers over the weekend. But it's all about UEC, as they say, which is moving its way through the Tasman Sea, expected to push towards the South Island of New Zealand. So weather warnings across that west coast of the South Island are already in force. We are going to see a lot of heavy rain in a short space of time, which could lead to further localised flooding. This is the city forecast for the next 5 days. That's it. Take care.